450. So within those top 3 teams, like, who do you think is like realistically going to win out of those 3?
Well, I think eliminate Clemson. Reason being, they're just behind the times right now. And I'm a big Cade Klubnik guy. I love to support the hometown guys. Shout out to Westlake. Clemson is one of 4 teams not to take a transfer in college football this year. The other teams are Army, Air Force, and Navy.
Yep, all service academies.
Shout out the troops.
We
support the troops. You never want to be in that fucking category in football.
No,
with the troops.
And I think they're getting away from the. I heard the other day that they're getting away from the option now. They're finally going to stop running that. That's what I've been hearing.
What?
The service academies.
Really?
That are going to start
get some talent in there.
Yeah, so they're going to start running some spread.
They're going to get involved. They're like, you know what? Fuck, let's use this military money, see if we can win a national championship.
That would be crazy.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick. But Clemson right now being in a category with the service academies, when everybody else in the world is doing the opposite of that. Dabo Swinney, my brother in Christ. I wish you were just more normal about it. Quite frankly, I digress on that front, but. As well as I know, the good Lord says the pride comes before the fall, and you're doing that in our face right now. It's really tough to watch at this point. I don't think that Clemson's going to be bad. They're way too talented, and they still recruit too well at the high school rankings to be bad. I really hope Cade Klubnik takes another step up, but I think plus 300 right now, it's still too much recency bias with the history of Clemson and the run that they had with Dabo Swinney over the last 10, 15 years. But I hate them right there. I love Miami.
Yeah, I love them too.
Miami is my pick to win the conference.
Me too.
That could change by kickoff. I love Florida State as well, who's the favorite. But I like Miami at plus 450. I don't think that they'll be plus 450 when Toe Meek's pigskin this season. I think that they'll jump Clemson. So getting them early, I think that they got the best quarterback in the conference with a lot of young, talented quarterbacks in it. And Cam Ward, I'm a big fan of Cam Ward. Obviously, Cristobal does a great job recruiting. They're doing a good job bringing that program back. His game management is sus, and you always worry about that.
They have a really good O-line.
But I think along the offensive line and overall talent, size, strength of that team, they're going to be in that top tier with Florida State.
They brought in Damian Martinez, that ran back from Oregon State. That's pretty good, like 1,400. 1,000-yard rusher.
I think that they'll be able to at this point, we'll be able to overwhelm teams with talent finally for the first time in a long time, and then it's going to come down to a race between them and Florida State. But the rest of the conference, man, I like the ACC in the long run. I don't know necessarily this year. I think I had the list of QBs pulled up. We'll talk about that later. But SMU at plus 1,800, I would not take that. They're not winning the conference. But SMU is a team that I just want to touch on in the ACC real quickly. That's a scary program now with the backing of a Power 4 conference. Okay, SMU wrongfully got the death penalty back in the day. That's the most extreme penalty ever given out in college sports. It's crazy because they weren't even cheating more than A&M was cheating at the time. They were just winning more. God hates A&M. But now... They got deep pockets at SMU, and they've been hungry to empty them out for decades since that death penalty destroyed the program. All right, so since NIL came into play, it's not like they could really exercise those deep pockets and make a huge impact because they weren't in a Power 5 conference, which is now the Power 4. They weren't in one of those major conferences to be taken seriously enough by the major recruits in America. So SMU in the long run is going to be a problem. They got Preston Stone coming back at quarterback. He's a guy that I anticipate continues to develop pretty well. Yeah, hometown product from the Dallas area. The ACC, I don't think, it's going to be interesting to see if Florida State and them are able to get out of there. But it's an exciting conference. My pick right now, the winner would be Miami, and the loser in this conference and the disappointment will be Clemson. Georgia Tech is another one.
Yeah, they were 7-6 last year. They have something King?
Haynes King.
A&M
transfer.
transfer.
God hates A&M.
They're good. The thing is, and they're actually starting to play well. If you got $10 you want to throw on that, that's plus 10,000 odds.
Plus 10,000. Like if you want to get a little froggy, you just sprinkle that plus 10,000, because if you end up having the best quarterback in the conference. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he's capable of being in that tier. And they pushed some teams to the limit, even Georgia last year, where he played very good.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's a program in Atlanta, again, in the NIL era.
Things are different with that.
They're separate from their rival, Georgia.
Yeah.
They play them every year, but they're in a different conference. This is a conference. I bring up teams like SMU, North Carolina, Georgia Tech. I don't know what kind of backing Pitt has, but there's teams like this conference, kind of like
even
the Big
Cal,
12.
like Berkeley, like you got all those smart people from there.
It'll be interesting to see who can fork up the money and the resources to start getting frisky, because you got a 12-team playoff, man. Just win your conference, be in the top 5. You got a shot. You did not have a shot otherwise.
Yeah, and you know, a team that I've been looking at, and you know, who used to dominate the ACC is Virginia Tech, with Brent Pry there, and kind of the way he's been turning that program back to how it used to be under the Beamer days.
Electric atmosphere
in Virginia Tech. When they're rolling, that's one of the toughest places to play in the country, in Blacksburg. And also just bringing that defensive philosophy that Virginia Tech used to be known for, and kind of, you know, they're getting the quarterback right, and they have Virginia's a talent-rich state. I mean, you have a lot of kids coming out of there.
Very talented.
You
the
know,
DC area has some of the best football programs in America.
Exactly. So I think I like them at plus 1,400 too.
Caleb Williams is a Virginia product.
Exactly. Vic, you know,
you
got a lot of people from that area. Allen Iverson.
No, it's great, talent rich with athletes. And I remember talking to you about this years ago when the NIL stuff got approved in 2020, and at that time, a lot of blue blood programs were in a rut, including my program in Texas, Miami. I'm not saying Virginia Tech's a blue blood, but the Frank Beamer era was
but they're top.
They're up there,
top 20 program of all time.
We grew up watching. USC was down. Everybody, all of these programs were down, and one of the things we talked about was they will all come back through the NIL modern era of football. And you're starting to see it happen. In the conference realignment, for anybody that didn't like it, I think
I love it.
It's only a matter of time before you immediately got to swallow that pill of pride that you have of not liking it, being stuck in your ways. This is going to be electric, man.
It's going to be electric. And, you know, quick tidbit before we go to the next conference is there. I think at some point that there is going to be the Power 4 only, and there's going to be obviously the top, and then you're going to have the 12-team playoff within the Power 4. And then you're going to need to make another playoff, even if it's just a 14 playoff.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
They need to have a playoff for their own championship.
Though, because a lot of people, like I've shout out Josh Pate, he talks about this a lot. He pushes that a lot, like a group of 5 playoff, because their rosters get gutted and stuff.
Yeah, and I would watch that.
I would watch the shit out of it. I mean, I watch everything.
Everything, yeah.
But my thing is, I don't really think that's going to change their rosters getting gutted.
No, it's not. Because, I mean, even look at, like, FCS, D2 schools, you got like the top cats from those schools grad transferring, leaving all the time, or even, you mean think about it like this. When I was at a D2 school, right, in my mind, I was like, I put out some good tape. I'm transferring to a UTSA. I'm transferring to a Texas State. I'm transferring to a North Texas.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go up a level. Yeah. So, and a lot of those kids,
all your late bloomers,
they feel that way. And
you're dreaming of that.
You know, there's a lot of kids. I mean, even look at, Braden Fisk, who just got drafted.
Yeah.
In the, he got in the first round or second? I think he went in the second. No, you in the first.
I think he was the first round.
Yeah, I think he was in the first round.
That's the kid from
Florida State, the D tackle.
Yeah, the defensive tackle. He was in the second round.
But
still, there was 3 defensive tackles. That's right. Because I liked Brandon Fisk a lot for the Cowboys. It was 3 different. The kid from Illinois went. Tavondre Sweat went, and then he went back to back to back.
Yeah, and it's like, look at a kid like that. He was at a MAC school, and then plays a year at Florida State. Yeah. Late bloomer, blows up, dominates the conference, goes in the second round, top 50 pick. So it's like that's going to happen. The roster's going to get gutted. However, I think the watchability